we go.
Boring Reviews!
All right, welcome back to Boring Reviews. Nick here, and I am bringing you a solo review for the film Kala. This is probably the first Indian film I've seen of 2021, and it's already June. How dare I see? And what I mean by that is that came out in 2021. I've seen some other films this year, obviously. We reviewed them on the channel. But I am going to review this film. It just came out not too long ago. This is a film that's directed by Rohith VS. It is produced by many people, but including our lead actor, Tovino Thomas. And it's written by Yadhu Pushpakaran. And then the director, Rohith VS, also wrote it. It stars Tovino Thomas, Sumesh Moore, Lal Paul, Divya Pillai, and Pramod Velayanad. And this was officially released in India March 25th. And I cannot remember if that's when it was released on Amazon. I don't think it was released at that time, but it's on Amazon Prime right now. And it's a box office success. The budget was 3.6 crore, and the box office brought in 25 and 0.1 crore. So I'm going to be talking about this movie here today. And I wanted to get game on this review, but I watched it recently and I was just too excited to talk about it, so I just went ahead and jumped the gun. We'll be reviewing another movie shortly. So let's talk about Kala. Hopefully you're watching this review. You're excited to hear not just my thoughts, but someone's thoughts on the film. Make sure you comment below with anything I say that you want to respond to or your own thoughts about. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And let's go ahead and jump into this. So this is a film about a lead character named Shaji. He's a headstrong person, and then I'm just reading this from Wikipedia. Headstrong person who is undereducated, has a Jinmi attitude of being above others. He does many businesses which ends up being failures. And so in the film, his father, who it seems like he has land, he has some money he's earned, and I don't think a lot of it's liquid, but it's in different investments he's made. They mention, like on the radio or something like that there is a pepper shortage or some nonsense. So the price of pepper, like the spice, has gone up incredibly. And so his father has on his farm, he has in this underground bunker in a shed, a whole bunch of pepper. And so it seems like this is a good time to take advantage of that. But his father is successful. He has land, he has money, he has different assets. And his son, it just seems kind of like a typical, I don't want to say rich kid, because I don't know if his father's super rich. But that kind of situation, which is why it mentions here, he feels like he's above others. And he tries different things. He's got a wife. He's got a kid. He seems like he really loves his wife and his kid. He loves his dog that he has. But this is an interesting film, and I'll get into the characterization and what happens with Shaji. But when the movie starts, I really like Shaji as a character. I like Tovino Thomas's portrayal of him. But before I get into too many of my thoughts, I just want to read some of the reviews that have come out from this. On IMDb, it's at a 6.9 out of 10, so that's not too bad. I think at 7 or above is really, really good, so it's really close to that. It's got a 3.3 out of 5 stars on like the Google users. And then just a few reviews right here. This one is from Pranu Reviews with a hyphen in between. There are times when you feel happy writing a review for a movie, and this one gives me immense joy to write about it. A nail-biting thriller which revolves around Shaji, who gets embroiled into tussle of human emotion and a day in his life which is unimaginable. Tovino Thomas as Shaji is not just a character, he has literally put life into it. His character is sketched in a certain manner that portrays the various shades of human emotions. And he goes on to talk about that. So he gives a very glowing review, 4 stars. Let's read a 3-star review. Okay, well, this is also Pranu Review, so... No, sorry, that's the same one. I got confused. This is from Nidhun. It says, Tovino Thomas's last film was the 2020 feel-good comedy, Kilometers and Kilometers, where he played a timid, witless village handyman. I haven't seen that one. Kala sees him take up a polar opposite character archetype that is egotistic. He's a farmer who, after years of living under his ruthless father's thumb, is aching to let loose his demons. It's drawn out, bloody slugfest that excels at its extremely realistic close combat sequences. Tovino does an excellent job. Let's see, what does he not like about it? The audience is hooked from the get-go. Tense music. Sense of foreboding. Not for the faint-hearted, but unmissable for lovers of the action genre. P.S. Suitable only for mature audiences. So it seemed like from that critics' reviews that they probably liked it more than just 3 stars. I'm not sure where the 3 stars came in because it was really too negative. So the reason why I wanted to read some of those reviews is I had gotten the impression from the audience on the channel and from reading things online that a lot of people seem to like this. And maybe not absolutely love it, not go crazy for it, but like it. And for me, as I'm watching this film, it's some of the things I did not... Let's start with the things I did not like. Some of the things I did not like about this film was how basic it was in plot. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing, but for me, I kind of like more complex things. It doesn't have to be like a mystery or something, but I like just like a few things going on, a few locations. And I'm not talking about action films. I love those as well, but it doesn't have to be that. But this one setting on the farm, like it mentioned in that one review, one day, very, very basic in nature, the plot is. And if you didn't pay attention to the film, if I didn't pay attention to the entire film and what was going on, what was really going on, that would have been a problem for me at the end, but it wasn't, and I'll get to that in a little bit. Some other things I did not like was, like it mentioned there, it's very intense. Like, it's very violent. There's certain parts that are very, very violent, and there is a fight sequence between 2 characters that I'll get into a little bit. And just so you know, there's going to be some spoilers here. Not heavy spoilers, but a little bit of spoilers, so keep that in mind. There's a fight sequence that lasts for like 35 minutes. Like, it really does. And it's even longer than that, but there's like, we get a few breaks, thank goodness. And that was really smart of the director to give us some breaks, some what seemed like natural breaks in the storyline, but give us some breaks. But this fight just goes on basically the entire day. And in film time, about 45, 50 minutes. And there was parts where like they're like breaking each other's legs. They're doing things to each other that no one would be able to get back from, and they just keep going and keep going. And I have an opinion on why I think that. I'll get to that in a little bit. Those are some of the things I didn't like about it. Other than that, I thought this was a fantastic film, but it's not going to be for everybody. He said not for the faint of heart, it's for mature audiences. I would say its core audience, its directed audience, its intended audience, I should say, is very, very small. It's very narrow in who is intended to watch this film and really come out of enjoying it. It starts with film lovers. If you're a lover of film, all aspects, not just this, not just that, you're going to really enjoy this movie because it's definitely a treat. It is not for people that, like he said, faint of heart. If you don't like action, you don't like fighting, do not watch this film whatsoever. There's no point. If you love characterization and process of characterization and that whole arc and all that in one day, then this is definitely the film for you. And the strongest thing of this film is its characters, and 2 in particular. So there's 2 characters in particular that are the driving force. And it's interesting because Wikipedia mentions just as protagonist. There's no name to this character. And I was shocked by that. I actually looked it up and tried to figure out what's this character's name. Just has protagonist, which typically is who you have as your main character, as your hero in the film. Played by Sumesh Moore. Not Tovino Thomas's character, Shaji. They don't have him as protagonist. His character's name is just protagonist. Sumesh Moore not only does a fantastic job of first playing just his normal self early on, and then something happens caused by Shaji that really hurts protagonist. I won't get into exactly what happens. I don't want to give that away, but there's something that he does. He wrongs him in some way, and you see Sumesh Moore's character just completely change. Time has passed. He's been brewing and stewing about this, and he gets his chance for revenge. And those are the 2 that have that lasting fight for so long. He does a fantastic job of playing on both sides. And it's great to get some time between so that we can just imagine what has he been thinking about ever since. And just the way it ends, I won't give that away. The ending, I'm not going to say it's a surprise twist ending, but it did surprise me. I don't think it's a twist, but it's a surprise ending to a certain degree. And I did not see it coming. But the main focus for this film, the thing that I really took away from it, the thing that I really enjoyed and was enamored by and thought was very, very cleverly done, is how the director took these characters that were fighting and trying to kill each other, and they turned them basically into animals. And no, not visually. There wasn't like all of a sudden an animal, like a lion and a tiger, fighting each other. It was just them, the actors, the entire time. But they were animalistic in their approach to trying to kill one another. They did not care about laws. They did not care about rules or about customs or about your land or this land. They did not care about getting other people involved and starting a war. All they cared about was predator versus predator, and they were just going to go at it nonstop until the other person stopped. And it's interesting because neither person, in my opinion, neither person wanted to kill the other person. They both had ample opportunities. Shaji himself, who he starts off as our protagonist, and he kind of, in my opinion, turns into an antagonist. I did not like him nearly as much as I did at the beginning of the movie, at the end of the movie. Sumesh Moore's character, same thing. I did not like him too much because, okay, this is going to be our bad guy. I'm not going to like him. I always root for the good guys, always root for the protagonist. I really understood where he was coming from, and I really liked his character at the end. So it's interesting how you had that switch. But when they're going at it, when they're fighting each other, it's not about the kill. It's not about ending the fight quickly. It's not about getting some off your land. It's just, and even animals, they think a little more when they're in hunting mode. It was just full-on brutality. They wiped away the human nature, their human abilities, the compassion, and they just went for it until we had eventually some kind of resolution that I won't get into because I don't want to spoil anything. That's where this film excels. Also, visually is fantastic. The visuals in this film, absolutely unbelievable. This is a Malayalam film, and I can say hands down with all the Malayalam films I've seen I think about 10 of them now, somewhere around there. It's just a different viewing experience than any other industry in India. And that's not a knock on the other industries. It's not saying it's better or worse. It's a different experience. Malayalam films, they focus on characters, and the visuals are always there. And I'm not talking about visual effects, just the natural visuals, using natural light, the locations, beautiful locations, the farm. The cool things with the guys climbing up the trees. I can't remember what that fruit was called. That his agrarian. I never heard of that fruit before. Climbing up those agrarian trees, and they just get like a little bandana, and they tie it up and they put their feet on it and they use. I mean, fantastic. I'm not saying that's not in other Indian films, but it just seems so grounded in reality. It just seems so basic. Now, the fight going on and on, that wasn't grounded in reality. But that was two guys giving everything they had to try to just brutalize the other one. And so Malayalam films, they're just in a different category of their own. And almost every single one besides Undu or Urdu, whatever I watched before, I did not like that very much. I have loved every Malayalam film that I've seen so far. I've only seen 10 of them, so that is what it is. But this is a great film, and and peppercorn, not just peppercorn is what was being stored. I can talk so much more about plot. I can tell you so much about synopsis and about different things and motivations. But overall, this was a really, really good film. I really enjoyed it. And if you are looking for something that you don't have to think too much about, if you like action, you're going to get it. If you like violence, you're going to get it. If you like gore, you're going to get it to a certain degree. But you're also, if you like characters, and if you like what drives characters and see how far someone will go, you're going to get it. I like the side stories too. I like Vidya's character a lot, played by Divya Pillai. She played Shaji's wife. The side stories don't really go in with the main story as far as cohesion, but they're there as set pieces so that there's more intensity for, trying to get rid of protagonists on Shaji's side. But I really enjoyed the acting. I thought she was beautiful. She had a great job. She wanted to get away for some time. Her father-in-law was driving a little crazy. I thought whoever played the kid did a great job. Ravindran, who played the dad, was played by Lal. I thought he was good. right? I've seen that character many, many times in Indian films, that similar character. But Sumesh Moore, Tovino Thomas, I mean, I haven't talked much about Tovino Thomas. This guy is fantastic in this film. In my opinion, by far the star. Not only is he completely jacked, and I always love that because that is pure commitment to your craft, but he is so good at playing like the too cool for school and then playing the desperate. I mean, there's certain parts where his character gets pushed to its limits, and we see it on Shaji's face. And I like that reviewer saying that he brings it to life, because he does. He becomes Shaji, and that's so fantastic. The Indian is just bananas, for crying out loud. Just the brutality and the animalistic nature of different things. But this was a film I very, very much enjoyed. I'm curious, have you seen it yet? I'm wondering if a lot of people have seen this film. If a lot of people have given it a chance, you've got to. If you have not, I definitely recommend it. I'm going to give this film, I'm going to give Kala an A-. And an A- because the fight scene lasted way too long, and because as gray as it was, I still wanted a little more to the plot, but there was still enough. There was still enough that we got for it. So the biggest knock is just the extensiveness of the fight scene. Way, way too long and a little unbelievable at certain times. But other than that, I love characterization. I love great direction. I love great visuals. You feel like you're there. It's a beautiful thing, a beautiful film, and Rohith VS should be very, very proud of himself, as well as Tovino Thomas. So those are my thoughts on the film Kala. Let me know what your thoughts are. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for listening to this review, and until next time, adios.